Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Today I am Rupesh Kumar from Silence Public School. My topic is accessible digital resources and assistive technology. Now I am describing what is assistive technology. So first of all, we have to understand what is assistive technology. Assistive technology is that technology which is used by individuals with disabilities in order to perform functions that might otherwise be difficult or impossible. Assistive technology can include mobility devices such as walkers and wheelchairs, as well as hardware, software, and peripherals that assist people with disabilities in accessing computers or other information technologies. For example, I can say that people with limited hand function may use a keyboard with large keys or a special mouse to operate a computer. People who are blind may use software that reads text on the screen in a computer generated voice. People with low vision may use software that enlarges screen content. People who are deaf may use a TTY. TTY stands for text telephone, or people with speech impairments may use a device that speaks out loud as they enter text via a keyboard. A formal legal definition of assistive technology was first published in the Technology Related Assistance for Individuals with Disabilities Act of 1988. This act was amended in 1994. In 1998, it was replaced, repealed, and replaced with the Assistive Technology Act of 1998. Throughout this history, the original definition of assistive technology remained consistent. This same definition was used in the access boards, electronics and information technology, accessibility standards developed as required by 1998 amendments to section 508 of the Rehabilitation Act. A tremendous variety of assistive technology is available today, providing the opportunity for nearly all people to access information technology. As also short form is IT. However, an individuals having proper assistive technology is no guarantee of having access information technology accessibility is dependent on accessible design. Information technology products must be designed and created in ways that allow all users to access them, including those who are using assistive technologies. We can also find some examples of assistive technology being used by students with disabilities in the video series. At in section by the Family Center on the Technology and Disability. For more information, we see the knowledge base article What is accessible electronic and information technology? So first of all, we should understand what is accessible electronic and information technology. Sorry. Accessible electronic and information technology is a type of technology that can be used by people with a wide range of abilities and disabilities. It incorporates the principles of universal design. Each user is able to interact with the technology in ways that work best for them. Accessible technology is either directly accessible, in other words, it is usable without assistive technology, or it is compatible with a standard assistive technology. Just as sorry, just as buildings that have ramps and elevators are accessible to wheelchair users, products that adhere to accessible design principles are usable by people with a wide range of abilities and disabilities. Examples of accessible electronic and information technology. Number one, accessible software applications. Accessible software applications may include features specifically designed for users with disabilities. However, they always give users more than one way of accomplishing a task. They use established standards for displaying menus and prompts that can be interpreted by assistive technology. They allow users to use the mouse alone, the keyboard alone, or a combination of the two. They rely on more than color to convey information, installation, instructions, user guidance, and other documentation are available in alternate formats such as large print, braille, and electronic text. Assistive multimedia products. Accessible multimedia products which may be distributed on videotapes, CDs, DVDs, or the World Wide Web include synchronized text captions for spoken information and other audio content, and provide synchronized audio description for visual content. They offer more than one way to input command or respond to prompts. For instance, imagine that characters video voice on a CD tells a child to click on an animal to learn more about it. Children who are deaf or hard of hearing cannot hear the instructions. Children who are blind cannot click on the animal because they cannot see what is on the computer screen. Providing captions in addition to spoken instructions allows children with hearing impairments who can read to participate. Providing keyboard commands for all functions of the software allows children with visual impairments to participate. Captioning and alternative ways of negative can make a big difference in the ability of students with disabilities to use these technologies independently. Descriptive narration and audio navigation are also essential in order for those with vision impairments to access videos or DVDs independently. Next is accessible websites. Assistive technology is also effect on accessible websites. Accessible websites are designed to be usable by individuals with a broad range of abilities and disabilities. They are designed so that all visitors can navigate the site, access content, and participate in interactive web activities. Accessible websites provide a text equivalent typically a description for all nominate non-text elements like audio, video, graphics, animation, graphical buttons, and image maps. This allows those who cannot see the screen to access the information with a screen reader that can read the description of a picture but cannot read the picture. Accessible copy machines. Assistive technology also impact on accessible copy machines. In this point, I can say that it can be operated in more than one way using keypads, touch screens, or voice recognition. Height and position can be adjusted so that controls are within easy reach and the display can be viewed easily. Document feeders are located at desk height, putting them within reach. Assistive technology for online learning. It is also advantage of assistive technology, that is online learning. We can also learn about this technology online. Skip to main content, secondary navigation, getting started, accommodation and services, learning and copying during COVID-19, a stand for a specific support, guidance on exam accommodations during remote instructions, guidance for faculty on recording courses, accessible online learning. Assistive technology for online learning. Note taking strategies and tools. Additional considerations for people with disabilities. Health and well-being. In the news, resources, advocacy and community. Grievance and complaint resolution. Main content start assistive technology is any item, piece of equipment, software, program or product system that is used to increase, maintain or improve an individual's functioning and independence, thereby promoting their well-being within the educational environment and can help enhance learning by capitalizing on one's steady strengths while modifying areas of difficulty. Explore different forms of educational assistive technology. Next to speech and literacy support tools, then writing support tools, executive functioning, time task management tool, accessible screen readers, open access textbooks and literature. I am describing one by one text to speech and literacy support tools. So first of all, we have to understand about this point. In this point, I can say that distance learning is often guided by an increase in the volume of reading a student is responsible for from additional printed or digital readings, postings on Canvas and associated online resources and websites that classes may tie together to found out the experience. Assistive technology can provide support with reading, enhanced comprehension, and built in tools such as dictionaries, built-in highlighting and note-taking features, and visual tracking support that can make you more efficient while reading. Students with learning disabilities, ADHD, mental health diagnosis, traumatic brain injuries, chronic health conditions, and visual impairments may benefit from these types of tools. Number one, read and write. A real read and write for Google Chrome. Stanford has a site license for all students with a valid. Number two tool is Crunchyroll. Read the web Chrome extension. Number three, Microsoft Learning Tools within Office 365. Next tool is Voice Dream Reader. Next, Balaboka Windows only voice AI. Mac operating systems includes options to magnify keyboard control and verbal descriptions to describe what is happening on screen. It also reads aloud file content as well as web pages, email messages, and word processing files while providing a relatively accurate narrative of the user's workspace. Instruction guide here. Next type of assistive technology is writing support tools. This technology related to the tools known as writing support tools. So here we have to understand about writing support tools. In this point, I can say that we may find that due to the virtual format of our classes and difficulty in recreating in class group experiences that our professor may assign a greater volume of writing and responses. Additionally, assistive technology may provide new ideas, methods, and supports to our traditional writing habits. Next assistive technology tool is federal legislation and assistive technology. In this point, I can say that assistive technology is basically any tool that provides people with disabilities additional capabilities to live their lives more fully. As we might imagine, the cost for acquiring these different pieces of technologies can be prohibitive. The burden of cost for assistive technologies can be shouldered by a variety of sources including school systems, private health insurance, and employees with job training programs. As we learned in the previous article, Title 1 of the Americans with Disabilities Act is written to protect people with disabilities from employment discrimination. Assistive technology may be viewed as a reasonable accommodation made by employers so that people with disabilities can better perform their job responsibilities. The technologies related assistive to individuals with Disabilities Act of 1988 was designed to encourage access to assistive technology for all individuals with disabilities. This was the first legislation that classified assistive technology as either a device or a service. Here are the definitions that distinguish the two. Number one, assistive technology device, any item, piece of equipment or product system, whether acquired commercially of the self made, modified or customized, that is used to increase, maintain or improve functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities. Assistive technology service, any service that directly assists an individual with a disability in selection, acquisition or use of an assistive technology device. After that, I have to say that 10 years later, the 1998 Assistive Technology Act or TECH Act further reiterated that technology can be a valuable tool for improving the lives of people with disabilities. Essentially, these assistive technology acts established the federal government's role in providing programming and financial assistance to the states in order to solidify access to assistive technology and assistive technology services. The funding went to such things as device loan programs, device demonstration programs, as well as assistive technology services. These services included programs expanding the availability of technology to individuals with disabilities, at training and technical assistance for individuals and employees, and assessment programs that could determine the needs of an individual person with disabilities. This law affirms that technology is a valuable tool that can be used to improve the lives of Americans with disabilities. The Tech Act continues to support states in sustaining and strengthening their capacity to address the needs of individuals with disabilities. As such, the Act provides federal funds to assist states in developing consumer responsive systems of access to services and information. Report on Federal Capitalization and Assistance Act. Access to assistive technology is a fundamental right incorporated into other civil rights legislation. On 29th November 1975, President Gerald Ford signed into law the Education for Handicapped Children Act, now known as the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act is a law that makes available a free, appropriate public education to eligible children with disabilities throughout the nation, and ensures a special education and related services to those children. Individuals with Disabilities Education Act website. After that, we have to give stress on the term related to assistive technology device as defined in section 305, and the term assistive technology service is defined in section 306 of the Individual with Disabilities Education Act. The importance of the relationship between Individual with Disabilities Education Act and access to assistive technology for students with disabilities is highlighted by the OCALI report, which states that the 1997 amendment to Individuals with Disabilities Education Act specifically required that it be considered or every student with a disability as part of the IEP process. Assistive technology may be considered either as a special education and related 27 services, or also I can say that supplementary aids and services. Then after I want to give focus on history of assistive technologies. Braille. Assistive technology existed long before any federal legislation. For example, Louis Braille developed a written language for blind people known as Braille. What is it? It is a system of raised dots that can be read with the figures by people who are blind or who have low vision. A person's hands placed on a page written with Braille photo by Jan Kirchhoff. Born in Courtrai, France in 1809, Louis suffered a tragic accident which left him fully blind by the time he was 5 years old. One of the primary motivations he had for creating the Braille system was so that he could read more books. He wanted to develop a writing system that would make reading easy just by using an individual fingertips, slates and stylus instruments to write Braille. Today, Braille technology can help blind people browse the internet as well as read books. Referenceable Braille displays Now I am starting history of assistive technology TTY. One of the most important inventions of the 19th century was the telephone. As you might imagine, this revolutionary communication technology excluded deaf and hand of hearing people, making them dependent on the assistance of others to make important phone calls. In 1964, a deaf scientist, Robert Weber, invented the teletype machine, which converted sounds or speech into text. This invention expanded into a assistive technologies, really service, with which a person who was deaf could call in and access the services of a communication assistant. This communication assistant would facilitate voice to voice and text to voice communication between a deaf person using a teletype machine and a hearing person using a telephone. You can see an illustration of how this communication operates in the video below. YouTube video making and receiving a history of an assistive technology. And New Jersey Relay in 1987, California became the first state to establish a statewide telecommunication relay service. This became a federal mandate in 1990 with the passing of the Americans with Disabilities Act and the inclusion of title TV, which mandated a national relay system. Thinking about the history and use of assistive technology, I reached out to accessibility consultant Mary Evans, who is deaf, and asked about her views on the use of assistive technology. She wrote a very interesting blog post and thread on LinkedIn sorry, inquiring for feedback from the deal and heard of hearing communities as to whether they still relied on assistive technologies, either existing via their phones or the use of caption phones. Be sure to check out the fantastic overview of deep tech for a much more in-depth history and discussion of assistive technologies that support the deep community. YouTube video Deep Tech Travel Through Time from Past to Future by Mary. Even here are a few additional resources on this topic. Assistive technologies and adaptive structure. As we now know, people with distance interacts with digital websites and application using both assistive technologies and adaptable strategies to gain a better understanding of these techniques. I highly recommend entering through the Web3 Web Accessibility Initiative defines the own interactions as follows. Number one, assistive technology, software and hardware that people with disabilities use to improve interaction with the web. These include screen readers that read aloud web pages for people who cannot read the text, screen magnifiers for people with some type of low vision and voice recognition software, and selection switches for people who cannot use a keyboard or mouse. Next is adaptable strategies, techniques that people with disabilities used to improve interaction with the web, such as increasing text size, reducing mouse speed, and turning on captions. Adaptive strategies include techniques with standard software, with mainstream web browsers, and with assistive technologies. Using assistive technologies such as screen reader software to convert text to speech and adaptive strategy for accessing digital content as demonstrated in the following video. Screen readers are not only helpful for blind. Last point, I am describing types of assistive technology: low tech, mid tech, and high tech. Assistive technology is classified into three different categories: high tech, mid tech, and low tech. When working in the field of accessibility, we are routinely exposed to users relying on the high-tech software for screen readers such as JAWS or Zoom magnification software. As Zoom text, however, it is important to gain exposure to other types of assistive technologies in order to understand the breadth of strategies people with disabilities use to learn, play, and live their lives. Low technology, assistive technology, does not rely on completed electronic devices. Low tech never requires batteries, it never has to be plugged in, and it never has to be programmed. So, in short, I can say that it is very useful for modern period of times. Thank you. Yes. Access to assistive technology is a fundamental right incorporated into other civil rights legislation. On November 29, 1975, President Gerald Ford signed into law the Education for All Handicapped Children Act, now known as the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act is a law that makes available a free, appropriate public education to eligible children with disabilities throughout the nation and ensures a special education and related services to those children. Individuals with Disabilities Education Act website. The term assistive technology device is defined in section 305 and the term assistive technology service is defined in section 306 of the IDEA. The importance of the relationship of IDEA and access to assistive technology for students with disabilities is highlighted by the OCALI report, which states that the 1997 amendment to IDEA specifically required that act be considered for every student with a disability as part of the IEP process. Assistive technology may be considered either as a special education and related 27 services